Long time no talk.
It's been a while, man. It's been since what the championship series, something like that, a little something like that.
I believe we watched one World Series game before we parted ways. Was that
You're right. We were late by a day,
that
but it
was the
was the
Astros series? Let me take that back.
mm, mm, mm. I just want to say, man, should have been the Yankees in that World Series. But we're not gonna go there yet. Not just kidding.
Damn, it feels like ages ago that we even said the word Yankees in this podcast, even though we mentioned it about Gary Sanchez the last episode. But it just feels like the whole playoffs in for the MLB took about like 2 months. Felt longer than the regular season.
And it's true, it was only a month, but there were 16 teams, an extra round essentially. So yeah, it was a longer postseason. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
you didn't make that up. And
that's true.
it ended the only way a World Series in 2020 could have ended. And maybe we should start it with this before we get into the main topic, with Justin Turner testing positive for COVID-19 and security telling him that he can't go out into the field to celebrate with his teammates, and he decides he's gonna do it anyway. Fuck it. Takes off his mask, kissing his wife, sitting down with his teammates to take a group picture. How did that happen? How did it even happen that Justin Turner could test positive for COVID when they're in a bubble, quote unquote?
I don't know, man. I have a feeling that reports will come out and it'll be like it was a false positive or something. But let me just say that COVID is not a joke, but sports and COVID is kind of a joke. Like Dave Roberts has a mask on almost the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Yet when he has to complain about something, it's almost like he takes the mask. I was like, hey, do you see
Yeah.
me complaining here? Can you read my lips?
It's
Fuck.
me. It's me. It's me complaining.
First he has the mask on throughout the entire thing. When he has to say something, he takes the mask off, yells it, puts the mask back. Same thing with Cash,
Yeah.
right? Same thing with Blake Snell last night. We'll get to that in a moment. But I'm convinced he only had a mask on to talk shit about Kevin Cash, like
I've
so
seen,
that the camera wouldn't read his lips.
I think it was Dave Roberts, but it might have been Kevin Cash. I've seen them pull the mask down to spit and then pull it
Yeah,
back up. Like, yeah, it was all for show. I think once they went into the bubble, they didn't even need to do all that. Like, it was just an extra, you're going
yeah.
extra essentially. But then you see that Justin Turner tests positive for COVID. So like, I don't know, how strict were they in COVID? I spoke with someone um after the Yankee series, I think it was, who, no, it was before the postseason even started, who said that they were put into a hotel to quarantine in a bubble. But there were other people in the same hotel. They were sharing elevators with people that weren't a part of MLB, just like regular people that weren't wearing masks and all this shit. And it's just, I think it was just, it's no surprise that the only sport to screw this up somehow is MLB. In hockey, no positive tests in their bubble. NBA, no positive tests in their bubble. And they were there for fucking like 3 months. MLB were in a bubble for 1 month and they couldn't even do that right somehow. And then they allowed Justin Turner to go out into the field. Like, I don't know.
I don't know
Maybe it's a
either, man.
false, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a false positive too. Maybe it's not even that big of a deal.
Not only that, and honestly, when I heard that Justin Turner tested positive mid game, I was kind of skeptical at first. I'm like, how's that even possible, right?
Yeah.
Like, aren't these tests supposed to? I know that when you land in a like, if you go to a different, like, if you travel, if you go to Aruba, let's say, they make you take a test, they make you quarantine for like an hour in the hotel or whatever. They get the test results. So I thought all this was taken care of way before the game. But then again, man, I also woke up this morning thinking to myself, he already played half the game. He
Yeah.
already spent all this time buddy with his teammates and stuff. All his teammates wanted him out there. That I'm assuming they wanted him out there celebrating. They all took pictures with him. Dave Roberts took a picture with the team right next to Justin Turner. Wasn't wearing a mask. The
Mhm.
oldest guy on the field should have been wearing a mask. Wasn't wearing a mask. So I feel like, yeah, it's an odd situation, but at the same time, he was already there. He was already participating and hugging and spitting seeds and
Yeah.
rubbing pine tar on the back of his jersey and all that good stuff. And I almost feel like at that point, fuck it. Why not? I don't know.
No, you're
I don't know
right.
how
And
you
not
feel
just
about it.
that, but then Ken Rosenthal says that the test came out in the second inning of the game. I don't know if the Dodgers were informed yet, but it seems like they found out that he was positive by the second inning of the game, and he wasn't removed until the eighth inning. So
Hmm.
it's just a whole bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
It really is.
I
Everything's
don't know.
bullshit.
I don't think the virus is bullshit. I think that the virus is very serious. You know, there's been 225 deaths, 225,000 deaths, I think. We're at like 70 or 80,000 infected people per day. We're approaching 100,000. It's the worst that it's ever been. It's far from over. The third wave is going to be the worst of all the waves, apparently, is what they're saying. But how baseball handled it was a joke, is what I'm trying to say. I agree with you. There was a lot of things that just did not make sense. Like you have your manager with a mask on in the dugout, but then he's taking it off to take a picture with his team. You have it's just it doesn't make sense. None of it just made any sense the way it was done. It seems like a lot of it was for show, which I appreciate because I think a lot of people need to see that. But at the same time, you know, whatever. And here's a
So
question I have for you, real quick. Do you think that if you were the Rays and you find out that Justin Turner tested positive for COVID, he's removed in the eighth inning, you read the Rosenthal story that says that the test came out in the second inning of the game. Do you contest the game and say like this shouldn't count because you had a player on the field that shouldn't have been playing, the whole time?
I wouldn't myself because I personally think the Rays, when I look back at the Rays, I don't even think they should have been in the World Series, man.
Wow, you're still on
Yeah.
this, huh?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't. I think that team is.
Jesus.
You won't see them in the World Series for a while, and it's funny because
Wow.
Joe Buck is like, "Don't worry about the Rays. They'll be in the playoffs for a long time." I guarantee you that that's not true, because and I
That's a bold
we'll
statement.
we'll talk about that later.
That's
But
crazy.
listen, I wouldn't contest it because from what I remember, Justin Turner was a non-factor in the last game. I don't even think I saw him make a play at third. Don't quote me on that though. Like obviously we can go back and check.
I don't think he played a big role in this World Series. I
In
think
the
you're right.
no, in the World Series, I think he did play a role in the World Series. He didn't play a role in the last game. Now, if I find out that they knew he tested positive before the game and the Dodgers just had to have him in the lineup because it was an elimination game for the Rays, then I would probably contest something. But if the game started and they did find out mid-game and all this stuff, nah, just let it go at this point.
He went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, and was removed in the eighth inning. And people didn't understand what was going on. Whatever. Turns out he tested positive for COVID.
Would you contest the game?
I don't know. I see it both ways. Like
Yeah.
I would understand if they said yes, just because like you want to get a shot at the World Series, but then at the same time you kind of look like sore losers if you do that. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. Now,
Like just let it go at this point. You got bested by the Rays. Like you said, he didn't really play a factor offensively in that game. So fuck it. Just be done with it.
yeah. So do you, and be honest, man, nobody's listening. It's just me and you here.
All right, yeah,
Nobody's gonna
okay.
Would you, if you're Justin Turner, do you go back out on that field to celebrate with your team? What would you have done?
I don't know, because winning the World Series is a once in a lifetime type of thing for most people in this world. For 99.9% of the population of this entire world, winning the World Series is a once in a lifetime thing. Unless you're Derek Jeter, then you get 5 of them. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Or if you're Yogi Berra, 2 great Yankee legends, then you get
Totally.
10 rings. But anyway,
Totally irrelevant of the question, but
but for Justin Turner, this is a guy who's entering free agency. He's in his mid 30s. You finally got to the promised land after I think 2 attempts with the Dodgers, 2017, 2000 and
yep.
Did they
18.
they went to the World Series in 17, right? They beat the Astros.
7
They
games to the
lost.
Astros in 2017, 5 games to the Red Sox in 2018.
All right. 3 attempts at the World Series. You finally get there. You want to celebrate. This is like something you dream about as a kid. I'm a fucking 36 year. I'm gonna be 36 years old, I think, in a couple weeks. And there's no shot that I'm ever gonna play in the major leagues. But like if one day I could get in there as a reporter or some shit, that would be amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take that. So I think I would probably do it, but now look at the backlash he's getting. Like, you know, everybody's taking, the attention has been taken away from removing Blake Snell for Kevin Cash, which we'll get to in a little bit, into Justin Turner refusing not to abide by MLB and just go out into the field and celebrate with his teammates.
Yeah, I'm going back out on that field, and only because I was already there. I was already in the bench, in the dugout, in the clubhouse, doing whatever I had to do. You know,
you guys are infected anyway. Fuck it, let's celebrate now, guys.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, fuck it. Now, if I'm coughing up, germs and having to, like, you know, wipe my nose every 5 seconds, I'm not going back out there. But you can even see Justin Turner, you know, kissing his wife, which is like, they just at that point they're just like, oh, fuck this thing. Like,
yeah.
So
I think that's what it almost seemed that way. It almost seemed like what went through my mind, the initial like outrage that went through my mind. And again, I don't blame Justin Turner for doing what he did. I might have done the same thing. The initial thing that went through my mind, the liberal snowflake, you know, cancel people type person side of me, was saying, like, guys, COVID doesn't just stop because you guys won the World Series. Like, can you guys abide by the rules and all this shit? But then the logical side, my heart, the real side of me was like, this is a once in a lifetime thing. Chances are most of you are probably going to be okay. And maybe this is a false positive. So just enjoy it. Fuck it. Yeah, but then again, we'll feel like shit next week if we find out, oh shit, Dave Roberts contracted COVID from Justin Turner. It's not even really funny, and he's fucking on a respirator or some shit. You know what I mean? Okay,
it's not funny what the worst case scenario outcome might be, but I also think that everyone's going to be super cautious post celebration, and I also feel like we caught that on camera. But I'm almost 100% sure that afterwards, Justin Turner was popping champagne bottles with Clayton Kershaw. Both of those guys have been a part of those Dodgers teams going to the World Series three times in the last 4 years. Both played a huge role. Justin Turner has always been a staple on that team since he's got there, since he implemented some launch angle logic into his swing. Right? Hey, you like that?
Yeah? Shout out to Doug Latta, guys. Check out season 1 of the Welcome to the Show podcast.
That's right. So I feel like at that point, Justin Turner was probably thinking, like, I don't care what the backlash is going to be, because although you guys aren't going to see this part of the celebration, we're going to pop bottles in this hotel. I'm not leaving this hotel, all that stuff. So, yeah.
Here's what I'm going to call it. The 5 moves that decided the World Series for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Are you ready for these?
I'm ready.
The man with too many names. There's no particular order for these. I'm just gonna go through because I was going by memory. The freshest one in my memory is removing Blake Snell from the game yesterday. He had something like 75 pitches, 9 strikeouts. He was cruising. I have 2 feelings about this move.
Same.
The first feeling is let him go. Like, just let him go until you see some sort of struggle. Let's see what happens. The second thing is, and I tweeted about this, is that Blake Snell hasn't pitched more than 5.2 innings this entire year. And we saw in the last 2 games how in the later 5th inning, he started to kind of unravel. He starts walking people, allowing runs. We would have been sitting here bashing Kevin Cash had he left him in and he started to implode. You know what I mean? We would have said, why not go to Nick Anderson here? Why not go to somebody out of the bullpen? Maybe go to Glasnow or something. I don't know if he was even available. I kind of find it hard to blame. Everybody's shitting on Cash today. Alex Rodriguez went ape shit on him on Fox yesterday. But I think it was, at the end of the day, it did play a factor in the series, because as soon as he removes him, he puts Nick Anderson in, and I think was it Mookie that hit a home run next?
Mookie hits a double, moves the runner to third, and then I forget somebody. I know eventually Mookie. Oh, passed ball, wild pitch, passed ball, scores the guy on third. Mookie moves to third, and then Corey Seager hits a fielder's choice to first.
There you go.
Scores Mookie, takes the lead.
And then it becomes 3-2. I think Mookie hit the home run to make it 4-2 eventually.
Yeah.
So it's undeniable that move did negatively impact the series for the Tampa Bay Rays. So do you have anything to say about that?
I would say that I I looked at it both ways because although the baseball fan side of me wanted to at least believe that Blake Snell was going to go the distance, right? Because when did he get pulled? Fifth
It
inning.
w- it was, I think it was the fifth inning.
So he wasn't in stat term. He wasn't even in line for the win
Yeah,
when he got pulled in the fifth inning. Don't kill the win, guys. Don't kill the
kill the
win.
win.
Season one. Go back
Bullshit
and check
stat.
it out. Listen, I thought I kept thinking about it in my head. I'm like, you
Fact
don't
check. He
take.
was pulled in the sixth, five and a
So
third.
he was not in line for the quality start.
Yeah,
Don't
there you
kill
go.
the quality start.
That's a bullshit stat right there.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
so not really. I, so I was thinking like Nate Anderson, Nick Anderson hasn't really looked as sharp as he did in the regular season.
No.
Even looking back into the Yankee series, right? So if you are gonna pull him, and the stats, I think John Smoltz read back the stats, or whoever was there, Tom Verducci said that Mookie wasn't really hitting left-handers well this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are gonna pull him, why not go to your dominant left-handed bullpen arm, right? But then I started thinking like, this is what the Rays do. Blake Snell didn't go deep at all this year, so you almost can't fault Kevin Cash for pulling him because they're in Game 6 of the World Series, not about to get swept in the World Series. They're in Game 6. It's what got them there. The whole series has been like that. But then I
The
asked,
whole postseason.
yeah, but then I also started thinking to myself, like, I just kept going back and forth because I don't think it has a right answer. You look at Glasnow's last start, he got beaten up. He was able to go like, I don't know how many pitches. He got,
102. I think it was 102 pitches.
yeah, man. So it's like,
But then at the same
Blake's,
time, he settled in and he gave them a chance to get back into the game. I think that game falls more on the offense than on Glass now. A game, I think that was game 5.
I mean, but you don't want to be down. I think they were down 3 runs in the first inning. You don't.
Yeah.
I think things like that just kill. I blame the offense last night more than that game because, you know, you start the game with a Rosarena's home run, and then you get a second and first situation. You don't score another run. That was your opportunity right there. Like the guys in the Dodgers bullpen are no pushovers. I just think that at the end of the day, I go with you shouldn't have pulled him because all he did was give up a single, and Kevin Cash couldn't wait to get out there. Like as soon as that ball hit dirt, hit grass, he was already like first step out of the dugout to pull Blake Snell.
And
I don't get it.
I go back to he hasn't pitched more than 5 2/3 the entire season, and his ERA in the sixth inning this season, his splits is 13.5 in the sixth inning, and I think that's why they're pulling him because they don't trust what's going to happen afterwards. At the same time, I'm almost more critical of his decision to go to Nick Anderson there because Nick Anderson has allowed this postseason, he's allowed a run in every single game he's appeared except for 2. And that was the second game of the wild card series against the Toronto Blue Jays and game, what game was this? Game 2 of the ALDS against the Yankees. Other than that, he's allowed to run in every single game. And he's allowed to run in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he had allowed a run in 6 consecutive games before being put into that game yesterday. So I didn't understand why go to Nick Anderson there. I understand he's probably your best arm in that bullpen.
In the regular season, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But the
to me,
postseason is a whole different animal, like we always talk about.
yeah, the postseason is a whole different animal. I get that. But at that point, at that very moment in time, Blake Snell was your best option. I felt he didn't just like squeak by holding the Dodgers to no runs. He had only given up 1 hit at that point, I believe.
Yeah.
Up until the one that he gave up to Austin Barnes, I guess, was the guy batting ninth.
Did he allow a run? I think he allowed a run yesterday.
Blake Snell. That was my other thing. The stats show his ERA after whatever amount of innings, but there's a perfect. He didn't give up a run at that point. It was 1-0 when he gave up that single. That run that eventually scored. I don't know if it got scored as an earned run because it was on a pass ball or a wild pitch or whatever it was. But let's say Nick Anderson comes in and gives up a 2-run bomb. That first run gets tacked onto Blake Snell's earned run average.
Right.
So it's almost like I don't like looking at stats like third time through the lineup because you just never know. On any given Sunday, like they say in football, on any given day, Blake Snell could be your best pitcher, and or this guy could be your best pitcher. I just felt like he didn't give up a triple, he didn't give up a home run, he had only given up a hit before that, and it was a single. Let Blake Snell be the one to give up that game tying run.
Right.
Don't hand it over to the next guy, because although I think hitting is the hardest thing to do in baseball, I think the pitcher's position is the hardest position in baseball. And the Rays, why I don't think they're who they are, is because they rely on 9 different guys to be on their A game against the best players in the world. When you're in the playoffs, it's the best players in the world. It's not like you're facing the fucking Red Sox from the 2020 season every fucking game.
You
Fuck.
just had to go there. And
Pissed off,
but
man.
at the same time, I'm gonna be this guy now. The Dodgers used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers in that game. So the Dodgers were really the more, if you want to like have a analytical pissing contest here, the Dodgers pissed for longer or whatever. I don't know how pissing contests work. They even went with an opener yesterday and won. But I don't know. I just think it's a game of inches. Again, to borrow another phrase from the NFL, I think one move here, one move there, and that game could have gone completely different. I'm agreeing. That's why I put it there. I'm agreeing. Removing Blake Snell, in my opinion, was a mistake, probably a mistake at that point. But I can't blame Cash for making the move. What I can blame him for is at some point you have to close the fucking computer and the book and say to yourself, I know that Nick Anderson is my best arm, but he's allowed to run in 6 consecutive games, and I don't know if I trust him in this moment right here. Let me go to somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I can blame, Kevin Cash for.
And to be fair, he gave up, he let the tying runner get on base, Blake Snell.
Yeah.
And the next guy up is Mike Trout 2.0 Mookie Betts, to be fair. And then the
Right.
next guy after him is the guy who ended up winning the World Series MVP. So
Right.
just to be fair, yeah, you might want to pull Blake Snell in that case, but at the same time, like just like you said, close the computer, realize that what Blake Snell had that day was Cy Young-esque. Yeah, it was special. Like 9 strikeouts.
He's a Cy Young winner. You know what I mean? Like that's who he's been in the past. So who knows? Maybe that's who you have on that particular day.
So it goes both ways. The baseball fan inside of me would have preferred that Blake Snell let that game get tied and then go to the bullpen.
Well. All right. The next move, I'm gonna skip here. I had something else, but I'm gonna go to this because we're talking about pitching. Leaving Glasnow in game 1. I think at the time people were praising it as such a genius move for the Tampa Bay Rays, but ultimately it cost them because it's a win is a win is a win, like Michael K says. And he tossed 112 pitches in that game. 6 earned runs, 6 walks. Of those 112 pitches, 58 were for strikes. That means that almost half of his pitches were balls. You know what I mean? Like it was a bad ratio on that day. And he just didn't give the Rays a chance to even compete in that game. And I think that could have been a big game changer. I'm okay with Glasnow staying in his second game. Like I said, I think I agree with you. Once you allow so many runs in the first inning, it kind of takes the life out of your team. But then he settled down and he gave his team a chance to get back in it if they really wanted to. So I can't blame Cash for game 5 leaving Glasnow in. But for game 1, I think that was a terrible move, and it screwed them over in the long run.
Yeah.
All right.
I would have to agree.
The next one, let's stick with Rays decisions that cost the World Series. Manuel Margot stealing home in game 5, the Kershaw game. At that point, I think were the Rays trailing or were they? I can't remember, but it would have tied the game.
I think that would have tied the game. Yeah,
it would have tied the game, and he made an out at home, which is just it. And you can argue that maybe he was safe. Maybe had the umpire made the call safe. What was his initial call? It was safe initially, wasn't it?
I think his
or was it overturned?
Call was out. I think his initial call was out.
Okay, his initial call was out. So if his initial call had been safe, I don't think there was enough to overturn that call. I don't think the replay was so clear that you know what happened there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I
But
think that was a
that was
heartbreaker there.
yeah, and I don't understand what goes through people's heads like, and I don't understand how a team like the Rays uh even how does that even happen on that team? This team is like they don't give outs. They don't give outs away. They're so
Yeah.
analytical. You're not going to see these guys lay down bunts, even though I think I did see a couple attempts in the World Series, which is random. I don't know, man. That to me was just very odd. And credit to Kershaw for not balking there because I would
Yeah.
have certainly balked. I would have panicked. I would have thrown the ball like into the bleachers or something. Like,
Let me just see what the initial play was. The initial call. The called him. God damn it. Will you just show me a replay of the umpire? I want to see what the umpire does. Okay, the umpire called him out initially.
and to me, it was out.
I think the naked eye, for me, I think initially I was like, fuck, man, terrible move. He's out, blah, blah, blah. But had the umpire said safe, I don't think the replay shows it definitively. Like, that's why I sat here for fucking, I don't know how long that was, because I couldn't see the umpire's move. And I was just trying to see where the tag was. And I saw a tag, but I could make the argument that maybe his arm got there first. So I'm not sure. But either way, that was a ballsy move by Manuel Margot. And in some ways, I kind of like it because of Kershaw's move, how he raises his arm so high up in the air when he's from the stretch or whatever. So he thought he could take advantage of it. And to be fair, he almost beat that. He almost beat it out. He almost got it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he didn't. And that's an out at home plate that, you could have been at third. Maybe the guy hitting could have driven you in, tied the game up. Who knows how the game would have turned out? I think that screwed the Rays over big time.
I know it was a ballsy call and it would have made for a great moment in history that you stole a run to tie the game. I think the game the game had already been tied at that point. Let me just
I think there was a lot of lead changes that game. There was a lot of back and forths.
It would have tied the game 3-3 at that point. And don't forget, I think he steals second. Margot steals second, and a bat throw from the catcher let him get to third, which is a replay call that almost got overturned. I almost thought he was out according to the replay because he was off the bag at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a ballsy move, but to me, there's just no excuse why that even happened because you're talking about Clayton Kershaw, who's pitching good, and you just gave an out away in the World Series for a team that bases everything they do off analytics, I guess. So I'm pretty sure nobody told Margot to do that. And I think there's no excuse. Honestly, I don't give him any sort of like credit for being ballsy and trying to sneak one into me. That was just plain stupid. If I was Kevin Cash at that point, I would have been like, sit your ass down at the end of the bench, and we're gonna throw seed pellets at you until you fucking understand what you just did. Like it's Clayton Kershaw on the mound, not fucking Gonsolin or whatever.
And that, by the way, I just rewatched it again. That ended the inning for the Tampa Bay Rays. So it was a complete rally killer. He had just stolen third base, got himself all you needed was a seeing eye single by Kevin Kiermaier, an Applefield, single, and you're in. You're game tied right there.
Isn't baseball? Do you not believe in the baseball gods? I mean, this guy got away with a second base steal. Not that he got away with it, but let's be honest. When you steal a base, you're getting away with. You're stealing the base. You're not like getting, you're not earning a base or anything. So he stole second. He was safe. Took advantage off a bat throw. Got to third. He was safe. Although I think the replay, if you look at that replay closely, and I know that's not what replay was made for, but I think he was out. So he gets to third. He steals. Let me go back and reiterate. He stole second off of a left-handed pitcher. That's not an easy thing to do. And then you want to get greedy and try to steal home. You're not you're not Jackie Robinson. You're not Benny the Jet Rodriguez from the Sandlot.
Good drop right there.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I don't give that guy credit, man.
All right, Manuel Margot.
Lost the series, my opinion.
Luis hates you, Manuel Margot. All right, next move. Some positives for the Dodgers. Some reasons why the Dodgers won the World Series. I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with first. I'm gonna go with this one. Trading for Mookie Betts, man. What a fucking move. Alex Verdugo for Mookie Betts. You know, even the fact that the Red Sox decided we don't want Gratterall, the Venezuelan pitcher, kind of worked out because he played a role. He played a good role. He was a good pitcher out of the bullpen. Can't believe the Red Sox wouldn't take that guy. But Mookie Betts, man, hits a home run in game one to kind of set the tone and then finishes it off, a bookend home run to finish the series. I love this fucking guy. He's the face of baseball, in my opinion. I know that the numbers say that Mike Trout is better than he is. Even if you compare them by plate appearances or whatever, Mike Trout edges him in every offensive number statistically. I think the naked eye tells me Mookie Betts, and I'm not saying this. The first part of this was to troll you a little bit, but the second part of this is for real. I think he's the face of baseball. I think he's the best player in the game, and fuck, man, I love this guy.
Yeah, I love Mookie Betts. Watching him in that David Ortiz interview about thinking that he would have been a Red Sox for life. That honestly, like, there's not too many moments in sports where I feel like a sense of like sadness, and that's top 5 for me right there. But yeah, Mookie Betts, the most Mike Trout thing about Mookie Betts, besides the fact that they're both 5-tool all around talents, is that you can't hate Mookie Betts. I don't think there's anything you can hate about Mookie, and he did strike out a lot in the series. I'm not looking at the numbers. I have not looked at numbers pretty much the entire World Series because I just wanted to watch the game for what it is. But I did notice that Mookie Betts struck out a good amount of times. He was still able to do damage on the base paths. He was still able to defensively play a great series. And I'm happy that he finally broke out and had that home run just to pad the lead for the Dodgers. It's just sad to watch Mookie, cement himself as a Dodger. And I think it's almost like that Red Sox part of him is going to fade away by the time it's all said and done. Like he plays for the Dodgers. He probably could have gotten away with that playing for any other team, but when you play for a juggernaut like the Dodgers, they're already historic enough, so
I blame Dave Dombrowski. If I were the Red Sox, that's who I would blame. But that's just me, though. That's neither here nor there. And then when he doesn't do it with his bat, he does it with his glove. I think he stole 2 home runs in this postseason. That was a great move, man. Good job at the Dodgers. And now they have a freaking the best player in baseball for the next 10. What was the deal? 10 years?
12.
20 years? 30 years?
I believe it was 12.
12 years? Okay. So I think that was a big that played a big role in the World Series. And last but not least, I think this was the most important thing. And it almost falls the complete opposite of Kevin Cash's move, taking Blake Snell prematurely. I give credit to Dave Roberts for sticking with Julio Urias for 2 1/3 innings to finish out that game instead of going to Kenley Jansen, who, let's face it, he's not the same pitcher anymore. And in the World Series specifically, if you look at his stats in the World Series, Kenley Jansen is atrocious. He stuck with Julio Urias, who closed out the ALCS with 9 perfect batters. He went 3 innings, 3 perfect innings, 9 up and down. He went 2 1/3 in this series and closed out the game for the Houston Astros. For the Los Angeles Dodgers. Wow, I can't believe I just said that. For the World Series, finally. I thought that was a great move.
Yeah, totally, man. And I hope Julio Urias turns out to be everything that he's expected to be. He was a phenom. To me, that was one of the first guys I remember after Bryce Harper and like Steven Strasburg. Is like, this guy's 20 years old, 19 years old in the major leagues. He was pitching in the Mexican Professional League before that. So injuries have derailed him a little bit. And I just, I was, when I saw that to me was like the baseball fan move, because we all know Kevin Cash would have either gone to Jensen or he would have gone to Clayton Kershaw. Let's be honest.
And I think
how many times
Dave Roberts before last year probably would have gone to Jensen, because the Dodgers are also very analytical, and I think that kind of came back to bite them in the ass in the postseason. And I think that Dave Roberts learned from that, and he knows that he's in the hot seat. Essentially, he had nothing to lose, because had he lost the World Series, Dave Roberts isn't the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers anymore. So he was like, fuck it, I'm ride or die with Julio Urias. This guy's been a beast this entire postseason. I'm going to stick with this guy. fuck the analytics, fuck the books. And I think that kind of worked out. You know what I mean? It was almost like a slap in the face. Like he knows from experience, I can't rely on these books right now. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
And maybe next year Kevin Cash comes back, is in the World Series, and he's in the same position. Maybe he doesn't take Snell out anymore.
Nah, man, I actually don't think we'll get to see that. I don't think the Rays will be back in the World Series for a while.
Oh my God, you're such a
I'm
hater.
serious. I mean,
right.
When can we get to that, man? When can I just rant about the Rays?
You can do it right now, man. Those are the 5 moves that decided the World Series, in my opinion. Do you agree with them, or is there anything you want to add to that?
I think that you perfectly summed up the World Series right there.
You guys heard it right here. Perfectly summed it up. If you guys can think of anything that I missed, drop it in the comment section. We'll comment back. 108 subscribers last I checked. Keep those numbers coming, guys.
I could tell you something else about the Rays that perfectly, that led to them winning, that led to the Dodgers winning the World Series. The fact that Willie Adames can't hit for shit.
But neither can Kevin Kiermaier, but somehow he was hitting home runs this postseason.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, even Kevin Kiermaier managed to string together a couple of good at bats in the World Series. He had good at bats in the entire postseason. Willie Adames, I think he had one key hit in the entire postseason, but every time he came up to bat, it was either a slow dribbler, I'm talking about the World Series now, or a strikeout. And this guy goes up to bat, your last chance for anything for the entire season. You're the Tampa Bay Rays, the little train, the little boat that could. What's the saying?
Engine that could.
The little engine that could. And you go up there and you don't even swing the bat. Like, come on, man. Even I would have swung the bat. And I struck out a lot.
Willie Adames this postseason from Santiago, by the way. I can't believe you're shitting on a guy from.
I don't care, man. I'll tell him straight to his face. I'm like, you disgraced us over there, man. Like
8 hits in 2, 5, 7. That's 9, and 5 is 14. 20 games. In 20 postseason games, he strung together 8 hits. I don't want to count the plate appearances because there were too many series. He never hit above the Mendoza line in any series this postseason.
And you know what? To be fair, his defense saved runs in the postseason. His defense is outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But, man, like, I think we got to rethink this whole analytics thing. I think there's way too many bullpen arms, and we've discredited what hitting a baseball is in the major leagues. There had to be somebody in that lineup that could have put together a better at bat than Willie.
Who's this guy's name? The giraffe neck. What the fuck is his name?
Joey Wendell.
Joey Wendell. I feel like in the Yankee series, he was a pain in the ass, and then I kind of feel like he disappeared for the rest of the postseason after that.
Well, that's what I'm. So can we just get into why I don't think the Rays will? And I know what I said at the beginning of the year and last year, how the Rays are pretenders and not contenders, and they proved me wrong. They went to Game 6 of the World Series. I get that, but can we all just be realistic, real quick? We can say that a big reason they won the series against the Yankees was the Deivi Garcia start, right? That was a momentum shift. So but we could not even count that. They go to 7 games with the Astros, who was a below 500 team. And I think we could agree that the Rays were a better, position for position, even pitching, bullpen, everything. They were better team than the Astros. Yet that it went to Game 7, but it wasn't just that they went to Game 7. They came back from 3-0 to Game 7, and it was a close game. And then throw on top of that mixture that they were a home run or nothing team, and I'm pretty sure the Dodgers out homered the Rays in the World Series, and you can go to that side all you want, but we bash the Yankees every year for being a home run or nothing team. The Rays are literally a home run or nothing team, and they rely on like 6 to 7, 9 guys out of the bullpen every day to get the job done. I don't think that's not a good team to me. That's just a team that's putting Band-Aids around an okay team and putting makeup on a pig and getting by. And I know it's Game 6 of the World Series, but I think we have to also remember that this was a shortened season. We don't even know if the Rays would have been in the World Series in a regular season. And I also think that we overlook how hard it is to get the job done in the postseason. So for people saying, "Oh, the Rays will be fine," I don't know about that, man, because we thought the Red Sox would have been a good team for a long time, and they weren't nowhere close to even.
We did. Who?
I did. What? The 111 games in 2018. Like, you really thought that the Red Sox would be this bad in 2020? I mean, I know we lost Chris Sale and we gave away Mookie Betts and we lost David Price, and that's a perfectly
career
valid
years
reason.
that in 2018.
We could say the same. We could say the same thing about the Rays. We could say the same thing about the Rays.
No, I think you're right. I think the Rays are, and I don't think it was like putting band-aids. I think the Rays are built this way on purpose. Like, their bread and butter is their bullpen, and bullpen arms are the cheapest arms. And I think that's why the Rays have the smallest payroll with the highest record. They have a lot of players that are under control that don't claim a lot of money. A lot of hitters that maybe on any other team might be like 5, 6, 7 hitters in a lineup. In a lot of ways, they got lucky because of Randy Arozarena, who I think is the real deal. I don't think he's a fluke. I think that they're built this way purposefully, but I think that because of that, it's what cost them in the postseason. Because from the division series all the way through the championship series, there wasn't a day off. I think they only had one day off in between the DS and the CS because they went 5 games with the Yankees and 7 games with the Astros. Yep. And I think that kind of taxed their bullpen a little bit. And you had Nick Anderson wasn't the same as he was in the regular season. And I think that ultimately, had their bullpen been top notch, had they had some days off, maybe some rest days, full speed, whatever, maybe we're talking about a completely different thing right now. Who knows?
And I just got to throw this in there too. Until the Rays win the World Series, let's stop giving them credit for building a team under the salary cap of $50 million, because this is going to go like 2 ways. And I don't care. All right. I don't think I've ever seen a more boring, besides a Rosarena, I don't think I've ever seen a more boring baseball team. I'm so happy this team did not win the World Series.
How about G-Man Choi, man? That guy was doing at first base.
I love that guy, but he wasn't even, they didn't even include him in he didn't start every game. He's not an everyday starter. I think there's still something to the point of these multi-million-dollar superstar talents who are everyday starters. No matter what, these guys are going to be in the lineup because they're that much of a difference maker. They only had one guy, in my opinion, a Rosarena, period. Lau hit 3 home runs in the World Series, but
he came alive in the World Series. Yeah,
he came alive in the World Series. I'll give him that. But besides Blake Snell, a Rosarena, it's just not an exciting baseball to watch. And I'm looking at this from a common baseball fan point of view. As a person who loves baseball, all these guys are stars in my eyes. Like, they're playing in the major leagues, they're playing in the World Series. But I'm almost happy that they didn't win, because fuck that, man. We need superstar. We need Mookie Betts and Corey Seagers and Clayton Kershaw's and fucking Ronald Acuña. We need guys like that at the highest level. I don't think anybody was happy to see Willie Adames strike out. I can't think of another, besides Carlos Beltran taking a hanging curveball down the middle in their postseason game. You know, I don't know, man. I'm not giving that team credit. I'm not a believer. I don't think we'll see the Rays getting that close to a championship for a while.
Ouch. Wow. I think I'm going to disagree with you there, only because I think the Red Sox are going to be at the bottom of the division for quite a while. I think the Orioles they still have some time to come back. I think the Jays are a little bit better. The Yankees are still going to be in playoff contention, and the Rays. And I think of those 3 teams, the Rays, the Jays, and the Yankees, the Yankees and the Rays are the top teams in that division still. And I think the Rays have the edge. I think the Yankees still have some moves they need to make that team a little bit better. But I agree, you need star power. You need somebody who's going to put the team on his shoulders and carry the team. You need a Corey Seager. You need, last year, you need a Juan Soto with the Washington Nationals. The year before that, you needed a trash can in 2017, or you needed Alex Bregman, for example. Like, I slipped that in there. In 2016, you needed Chris Bryant or something. Like, you need a star on your team. Some teams that don't have star power, they're not champions for a reason. There's a reason why the Oakland A's haven't won a championship since adopting analytics with Moneyball. You know what I mean?
There needs to be look, there needs to be somebody to point the blame to and get pissed off that this guy's making all this money. Cause like when you really break it down, I didn't really think the Rays would even be in the World Series, let alone win the World Series. So, but at the same time, it's like besides the Rosarena, who is to blame, really? Besides, nobody really. You never really just put all the blame on the manager because like it's all being analytically driven at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what I'm supposed to be upset that a relief pitcher gave up the go ahead, the tying go ahead, and another home run after that. Like they're relief pitchers. Those guys are a dime a dozen. The most popular relief pitchers in recent memory, in my opinion, is guys like Josh Hader, and that guy gave up. That guy gave up the go ahead run in the Milwaukee series last year. You know, it's never should come down to the relief pitcher.
There's only one Mariano Rivera. In other words,
that's true, and we might never see a guy like that ever again. I think that baseball is today, we might never see a guy like that ever again.
Not to turn this into a New York Yankees conversation, but can we appreciate Mariano Rivera? I know that he was appreciated a lot during his career, but looking back now, isn't it fucking crazy that this guy dominated for that long and that he could have potentially, had he decided I'm not going to retire, he was really good his last year. It's not like he was like Kenley Jansen is.
It's almost like again, David Ortiz.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Whoa, let's look at David Ortiz's last season.
I mean, steroids. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I'm just going to go right ahead and throw it out there.
Nah, man. Mariano Rivera. I don't even think still it's fathomable how dominating Mariano Rivera was and like what when you look back at the career, like we probably will never see a guy like that ever again.
And the thing is that we've seen relievers that pound for pound, season per season, might be better than Mariano. I was freaking crowning Craig Kimbrell the next Mariano Rivera, and look what he turned into.
So it's your fault that Craig Kimbrell, his career got derailed so bad. Like he went from greatest of all time to let's hope it doesn't come to Kimbrell.
Kenley Jansen. Look at there's a ton of relievers. Aroldis Chapman, he's not the same anymore. Not that he's bad, but he's not the same Aroldis Chapman. There's a lot of great relievers. Josh Hader, like you said, but what are you going to do? There's only one Mariano. There's only one Yankee organization. You just cannot replace those organizations. It's just the greatest of all time. Clayton Kershaw, did he slay the postseason dragon? Can we stop talking about him being a postseason bust, finally?
Yeah, I mean, he's had good starts in the postseason before.
Yeah.
So if by slay the postseason dragon, you mean they finally won a World Series and he was an MVP factor because of it? Yeah, I would say he slayed the dragon, but can I just devil's advocate over here?
Yeah.
He only went to like 6 innings, right? Like I know that's a lot today, but man, it's
like we're giving he was yanked. They pulled him out, and that was a questionable decision. People were criticizing Dave Roberts. Why did they take Clayton Kershaw out there? And I could say the same argument I made about Blake Snell and Kevin Cash. Historically, Clayton Kershaw starts to diminish after a certain point in the game and in past postseason starts. Maybe had Manuel Margot stolen that base, it would have been 3 earned runs instead of 2 earned runs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's a lot of factors. I think he did it. He had a phenomenal postseason. I think he played a huge factor in them winning the World Series. The 2 games that he started, they won those 2 games. He struck out. Let me see. He had in the World Series 14 strikeouts in 11 2/3 innings. He had a 2.31 ERA, 2 starts, 2-0. I mean, I wrote an article about him 2 years ago, I think, on Call to the Pen, saying that I think that the postseason shit, because the same thing for A-Rod when he was a player. He would catch a lot of shit for his performance in the postseason. You can't dump an entire fucking postseason on one player. And to be honest, if you go back and look at Kershaw's starts, he's done enough to help to allow his team to win games. There's games where, he's completely imploded and it's on him. But, it can't just be all on this guy. He's still an all-time great. In my opinion, he's still the greatest pitcher of this generation, this current generation of the last decade. He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, the one thing I was really happy about with the Dodgers winning the World Series is that he gets his ring, he gets a trophy. You can't hold that against him anymore. You could say what you want. He has a World Series. That's it. He's not postseason. He's not a postseason bust anymore, in my opinion.
No, yeah, I'm a huge Kershaw fan. I should have led with that before people think that I'm ripping the guy.
He's
Just
lying.
saying,
He hates him.
No, I love Clayton Kershaw. And about him being the best of this generation, yeah, I could say that. But I think Max Scherzer inserted himself into that conversation.
I think Scherzer's dominant, but look at just pull up Kershaw's baseball reference sheet.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like, what do you want? Do you want the guy who's going to shut down a lineup longer, or the guy who's like Clayton Kershaw's amazing, and there's nothing taken away from that, but it's just baseball's becoming more about it's becoming more about what Blake Snell was last night. Just give me the 5 innings. So is it the guy that can give you 5 innings or the guy that can give you 7 innings? I think Max Scherzer is a better, goes deeper into games. I'm just saying the conversation isn't as a big of a landslide as it was a couple years ago.
I think if you were to start a pitcher today, you take Scherzer 100%. But if I were to take a pitcher's career, I would take Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, 100%. That's fair. But yeah, Clayton Kershaw, huge fan.
Yeah, right.
But you're right. It could have gone both ways had he not been yanked in that position. And I know Clayton Kershaw doesn't want to be yanked. It's not his decision. Just saying, take it for what it is. Could have gone either way.
Can we can we address one thing and just put it out there, make sure it's on the record? Can we just acknowledge that Clayton Kershaw has more pine tar on his hat than any other pitcher in baseball, and nobody says shit, which is fine. Legalize pine tar. I'm all for legalizing pine tar. Foreign substances are okay on the mound. It's safer. It's more entertaining because you get better pitches. But if it's anybody else, that the way his hat looks was Michael Pineda-esque. Michael Pineda pine tar on his neck-esque. That shit was shiny, sticky, like,
yeah, gunky.
Right?
Yeah, nah, I totally.
He's not even trying to hide that shit.
Nah, man, and neither would I. Who was this guy? Trevor Rosenthal had it like in his back pocket. It was like, looked like he shit himself, kind of. The Padres, when he came into pitch, it's everywhere, man. Just they should just literally put it in a little tub, like in a little container, right behind the pitcher's mound, like a rosin bag.
Yeah,
just fucking let them.
I agree.
Let them get in there.
Just let them put that 2 fingers, maybe 3, if you're feeling a little, dangerous. You want to live dangerously, but you could 2 fingers, maybe 1 if if it's too much. Anyway, last thing I wanted to do was to just acknowledge Randy Arozarena, man. Yeah. What a postseason this guy had, and I think had the Rays won the World Series, he's definitely the World Series MVP.
This was almost like a LeBron James type of performance where he lost the finals, but still in conversations about being the finals MVP. Yeah, Randy Arozarena, man, that guy won me over because not that I wasn't a fan of him before, but his post home run celebrations just made me feel like very happy to see him like smile and like celebrate with his teammates. I don't know why the Rays always gave me like an impression that they're kind of boring, and he's not boring.
And what a steal to get the St. Louis Cardinals got fleeced 2 times by an AL East team. The Yankees with Luke Voit, and now the Rays with Randy Arozarena.
Yeah, and they also had Ozuna for that 1 year.
You're right, Ozuna.
Yeah, Arozarena. Yeah, Luke Voit. Balls are juiced. Could kind of be a fluke. Luke the fluke. Jesus. I'm kidding, man. Luke Voigt's a good guy. Reincarnated Babe Ruth.
The Yankees should trade him. But anyway, so yeah, Randy Arozarena. All right. You want to do Dique?
Let's get into it.
Dique! I got one real quick.
Okay.
Dique. This guy, Jasson Dominguez, the Yankees prospect, word on the street is Dique. He got exposed to some gamma rays, and he's the New York Yankees Incredible Hulk. Did you see the fucking video of this guy on Twitter?
Dude, it's insane. I saw a video of a high school football player the other day that was like had a mustache growing and shit. He was like 14, but Jasson Dominguez is his name.
Yeah.
What position does he play?
Who? At probably every position. I think he's a switch hitter. I'm not even kidding. I think he's a switch hitter, and I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know. I don't know what he plays, but I
He
bet
doesn't.
he can do it all.
He does not look right for his
He
age.
look-
He doesn't look right for any age. He looks like he belongs he looks like he belongs in WW whatever wrestling the big show for WrestleMania, however those things are. I stopped watching wrestling a long time ago.
17 years old. His fucking calves are bigger than my face. He has traps like Mike Trout. He like something's not right. Something is not right. I'm not trying to point fingers like I did about David Ortiz. The only reason why I did about David Ortiz is because there is a positive test out there, but
God,
I don't know
man.
what testing is like in DR. I love my Dominicans and everything, but
I feel like they don't really start testing you until you get close to that, major league status. There's a lot of guys in the minor leagues get busted.
I'm just saying I've never seen a 17-year-old kid look like that.
Yeah, but there has to be a catch. Like he looks like that, he hits like that, but maybe he can't hit the curveball.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. What do you got for us?
I don't think I have anything. I'm trying to think.
I got another one if you want.
Yeah, man, keep them coming.
All right. Dique, Gary Sanchez, and Miguel Andujar are going to play for Los Toros del Este in the Liga Dominicana this winter.
Are you serious?
For reals.
For realsies?
For realsies, man.
Wow. What do you think about that?
I think I kind of like it because I think that it shows, first off, it's definitely an organizational move. I think the Yankees, they have to approve it. But it shows that these guys understand that they're fighting for positions on the team next year. I don't think it's a given that Gary Sanchez is the Yankee starting catcher anymore. And it's definitely not a given that Miguel Andujar has a spot on the Yankees roster. I think this is a way for them to show off their talents, maybe for a trade or to try to work on their game a little bit, little extra work. Because these two players need, they're fighting for a position. Gary Sanchez lost his job to fucking Higashioka, of all people. You know what I mean? So I'm all for it. But Dique, that's what's happening. I don't know.
I don't know how to turn this into a Dique thing, but did you see Trevor Bauer post a picture outside of the Houston Stadium saying like home or something?
Oh my God, he's such a troll. My God.
My God, man. I hope this guy
does starting to lose me.
Yeah, man.
And I like Trevor Bauer.
I like Trevor Bauer too, but I mean, you better pitch well for the rest of your career.
Oh my God.
Because I don't think you're gonna handle the criticism well. Personally, I mean, you launched the ball into center field, which Dique. You remember that? You remember that?
Of course I do.
Dique, he was trying to give his little nephew a ball, who was so happened to be sitting in center field at that point.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Dique.
Well, Dique, it turned that people think that he is going to take a 1-year deal next season because it's 1 year after COVID, all the money that all these organizations lost, and Dique, he might end up just taking a 1-year deal, but it's going to be worth a lot of money.
How much money?
Maybe in the 30s.
That's going to be 30s. Damn, man, I'd be surprised if he gets in the 30s.
I mean, Garrett Cole got 36.
Yeah, but for 9 years or however long it was, right?
I think he's the highest paid. He's the second highest paid player in baseball, Garrett Cole. Like AAV.
I feel like when a team is to the point where they're going to give a guy a 1-year deal, the player doesn't have that much leverage. They're basically saying like, you need a job, right? To prove that you're this multi-million-dollar, 10-year plus type of pitcher. 20 mil, take it or leave it.
Listen, man, don't blame me. I'm just saying, Dique, supposedly that's what's going on.
Last night, I think we all saw the World Series. Kevin Cash takes out Blake Snell, nine strikeouts in less than 6 innings after giving up a single to the 9-hitter. Mookie Betts was up. It kind of makes sense. It kind of doesn't. But Dique, You see Blake Snell in the dugout sitting with his mask on.
Mm.
He took it off once the Dodgers finally won the World Series. But I think Dique, the only reason he had a mask on was he wanted to totally rip Kevin Cash's asshole with a bunch of verbal words, and he didn't want lip reading to be caught on camera.
So he was like low key, cursing him out.
He had the mask on, like, man, fuck this guy. Taking me out of here. Believe this shit. I'm Blake fucking Snell.
Oh my god. Dique Blake Snell doesn't sleep very much. That's why he has those bags under his eyes.
He's a gamer, man. That guy. Seriously, man. He doesn't look healthy sometimes.
No. He doesn't have any chin. Not that I'm looking, but he doesn't really have a chin either.
Dique. Dique, Joey Wendell has the biggest neck of all time in any major sport.
Yeah.
In recent history. Who cares, man? These guys are professional baseball players.
Dique, when Joey Wendell's mowing his lawn, all you see is his head walking around over the fence.
Oh man.
By the way, fact check. Garrett Cole is the highest paid player in baseball, and by average annual value, he gets $36 million. Mike Trout gets $35.5 million. And by the way, Steven Strasburg, $35 million. I'm going pitchers only. Zach Greinke this year, $34 million. Justin Verlander, $33 million. I'm just doing pitchers. David Price, $31 million. I think that's it. You just have to say, if you're Trevor Bauer, David Price gets $31 million a year. I got to get at least 30. Not to shit on David Price. I think he's the reason why the Red Sox won the 2018 World Series. A big part of the reason, at least. But he's not the same David Price that he was, 5 years ago. Clayton Kershaw, $31 million a year. Chris Sale, $29 million a year. Max Scherzer, $30 million a year. It seems like that's the number, 30.
So if it's going to be a 1 year deal, it's going to have to be a team that's in contention to compete in the playoffs. The only team that I could think of that could afford a player like that for a 1 year deal is the Rays. And I don't think the Rays are going to give. I don't think
the Rays are going to give them that. No.
So who realistically? Padres? Speaking of the Padres, did you happen to catch that little clip of Manny Machado saying, "I'll bet my whole contract if the Dodgers win a World Series before we do"?
Wait, Dique?
No, this was caught on tape.
This is legit. Wow.
Yeah. Did you happen to catch that?
Shit. No, I didn't.
Well, Dique, he was full of shit because let's be honest, he's not giving a cent to anybody.
Wow, somebody should hold him to it. Let's throw that up on Twitter, man.
Yeah, I think I sent it in the group chat.
Wow, last incredible.
Night. Yeah.
Manuel Machado. But yeah, the San Diego Padres he could go to potentially. Let me look at their payroll real quick. Lo Padre have 124.5 million in the books. Let me see for 2021. That is next year. They are.
But are the Padres? Go ahead.
They're way under the cap, so technically they could offer him that money. He could stay with the Cincinnati Reds. They could offer him that money.
The question is, are the Reds or the Padres a one Trevor Bauer away from a World Series?
I think the Padres could be. Chris Paddock has that postseason experience under his belt now.
Clevenger's still there, yeah.
Clevenger's still there. Reunite him with Trevor Bauer, or Steve Cohen with the New York Mets. How about the New York Mets?
I think the Mets will be the team to give him a contract. That's what I think. Yeah. And and if I was the Padres, I would have to know what my pitching is looking like next year before I sign him.
Y los Philadelphia Philly. I don't know why I said
that. How much money does this team have to spend? Because I mean,
the Phillies are a big market team. They have $164 million, $164 million payroll. I think the threshold is like 210 mil or something.
Don't they have to pay Real Muto?
He's a free agent. He might go somewhere else, man. Yankees. Just kidding. But not really. Y los Houston Astros.
What? That would be amazing, man. I would love that.
How about the Angels, man? The Angels throw money around like they're at a strip club, and and they think the strippers are in love with them, so they just give them all the money. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
what about the Angels? They have $151 million payroll, and their roster's pretty full, so they have money to spend. I don't know how, but they have money to spend. Pujols' contract expires after next year. How about the Angels? They might be a pitcher away from
Getting to a wild card spot.
from moving to the third spot in the AL West.
Jesus, man.
Ay. Well, the Braves have a really small payroll, $92 million next year. They could use a Trevor Bauer. The Chicago White Sox. I think there's a lot of teams that could give him money. I think he's in a good position, Trevor Bauer, to be honest with you. I think he's going to get a lot of money.
I don't know, man. Teams lost a lot of money this year.
Dique.
I don't think anyone's going to be like, "Hey, here's $30 million, my friend."
Dique. All right, man. How about the Oakland A's? Billy Bean's gone. Maybe they start spending money again.
Are the Oakland A's Trevor Bauer away from? I feel like you gotta look at, for an Oakland A's, you gotta look at it in terms of we gotta go into this knowing that this is gonna get us to the World Series.
Minnesota, Lo Twin.
I think that's a good spot. That's a good landing spot for him. Yeah.
A lot of white people up in Minnesota. I agree.
Those teams are cursed though. So it's, you always got to think like, can Trevor Bauer get this curse off our back? Can he go to church on Sunday and cleanse us of this curse?
I don't know, man. I think he's in a good position. You disagree, but we'll see. We'll see, man. By the way, I don't know if you want to check on this because you already won anyway, but our standings, I think you picked the Dodgers, right?
I did pick the Dodgers, my friend.
What's the point? You won. Why even look at this? Just for fun.
Sure.
Yeah, I stopped checking. You won. Congratulations. You have bragging rights.
What a game. What a World Series.
Right? This was a good postseason. All in all, give it to baseball. It was a good postseason. Even this series between the Rays and the Dodgers was a really good series. That game 5, was it game 5? The Rosarena
4
slamming home plate. That was game 4. Game 4 was a good game, almost a classic in some ways.
That was a classic.
Even though Manuel Margot got thrown out at home, some exciting stuff happened there. Like he was almost safe. Clayton Kershaw gets his trophy back. Mookie Betts is the greatest of all time. Yep. Great World Series, great end to the season. I hope that baseball can, according to CC Sabathia, he thinks there's going to be money disputes again for next year because, let's face it, there's probably not going to be fans in the stadium yet, and if there is, it'll be very limited. So owners are not going to want to pay the players full salary next year again. So he thinks there's going to be arguments with money. Hopefully they can sort it out before March, spring training, and we could get the season started on time and get a full season under our belt.
DK, we're not even going to have a full season.
No, come on.
But let's be realistic. 162 games, whatever, times the 40 people on a roster, times 30 teams. How much testing are they going to be able to do and keep things under wraps? You're not going to be able to have a bubble for 162 games for 30 whatever teams.
That's true. And the thing that holds baseball back, baseball's in a good position because they have a lot of time to try to figure something out. But they're in a bad position because baseball is a big machine. Like, it's not just the Major League Baseball teams, Major League Baseball rosters that you have to think about. You have to think about the minor leagues. You have to think about, international play, all of that shit. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people aren't thinking about this. But another source, we'll call him, told me that a lot of these international players have been stuck in hotels because they're not playing baseball and they can't go back home because of travel restrictions. There's a lot of moving parts to the sport, and a lot of people aren't considering it. You might be right. We might not get a full 162 game season, but I don't know, man. Maybe they can figure it out somehow. Maybe they can keep some of these rules so you can limit bullpens. Maybe, I don't know, man.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I was talking to a coworker today, and he's like, I don't even know if we're gonna have a season. I'm like, I didn't even think about. I'm just assuming whatever happens, we are gonna have a full season. They're gonna have from now till March to plan it out. But what kind of plan? Even if you can do, throw some gimmies in there, like, oh, I'll guarantee you that we can play all the games in the same state, so there's no traveling, whatever. But how much testing can you do? 40 people on a roster, 30 teams, 32 teams, 32 whatever. I don't remember the number. And then 160 something games plus the playoffs. Like
maybe they should institute testing. I can't believe we're starting this conversation now. This is going to be the longest podcast ever. Maybe they should institute a testing before each series instead of every other day or every day, just to limit the testing a little bit. Like if the Yankees are going to travel to Tampa, you get tested. When you get tested when you arrive in Tampa, you get your results, you play your series. You travel to Kansas City, you get tested, you play your series. Something like that. I don't know, man.
It's just that's cool if you're going to Tampa or like Kansas City, but the day you go to Atlanta, I mean, somebody on that team is going to the strip club. Somebody's going to the club.
Well, I mean, those wings are on point.
If Cespedes is allowed to play next year, he's going to a horse ranch. We all know that horses are the craziest species on the planet. They go fucking nuts, man. Like, no, but honestly, man, realistically, I would lean more towards that we're going to see a shortened season again. And it sucks, but that's why it's called Dique.
All right, man. I do have one more question, and I wanted to throw this out during Randy Arozarena. Fantasy baseball next year. Where do you take this guy now? Do you think that his value has increased? Has it increased to the point where he goes, in one of the first 5 rounds or something? What do you think?
Manny, I'm not really a gambling man, even though we put money in the fantasy season. Did I send you the $50, by the way?
I'm not even sure. I haven't even doled out the prizes yet. I'm going to be honest with you.
Wow. Okay. So I'm not really a gambling man when it comes to my organization. So I will take a Arozarena if he's there, but not over a more proven guy. Like if I had to take Justin Turner or Arozarena, I'm taking Justin Turner. Is that a good comparison there?
That's a great, an excellent comparison. Let's say, yeah, go ahead.
Would you think that like a more novice type of fantasy owner would take a Arozarena by a landslide over a guy like Justin Turner?
I think Randy Arozarena is one of those guys that you can take a risk on, like early on, and it could pay off huge dividends, or it could be completely derail your entire season. I think it's too soon to tell. What I agree with you. Like if Tommy Pham is available or Randy Arozarena, I'm probably taking Tommy Pham because I know what he can do. You know what I mean?
That's a good one.
But somebody might take the chance and say, I'm gonna go Randy Arozarena here, see what happens, and it might pay off huge. He might play out like a first rounder. You know what I mean?
I put Arozarena. I want to say I take him over Paddock, like a guy like Chris Paddock.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, because Chris Paddock could turn out to be a dominant ace. He has the stuff. He just gives up a lot of home runs.
Arozarena played like Barry Bonds in the postseason. He could be Barry Bonds
in the regular season. You're right.
Yeah, man.
Luke Voit or Randy Arozarena. Who are you taking in the fantasy draft?
Arozarena.
Wow. You really hate the Yankees, man.
Nah, man. It's just that I gotta be honest. Luke Voit has had streaks where he can't hit. Like I remember when he came back from an injury. I know this was 2 seasons ago. I know, I gotta explain myself. I don't gotta give you my reasons and help your team get to the postseason.
Aaron Judge is on the board, and so is Randy Arozarena. Who are you taking?
Aaron Judge.
Wow, you're gonna go back to Judge,
and I'm trading him as soon as I can for a better option.
All right, that's a good way to finish the show. Follow that guy there with that hat. At Hova Mojo on Twitter. Follow me at Manigo3 on Twitter. Follow the show at WT The Show. That's it. Peace out, everybody.
Take care.